Why travel now? I know a lot of people put themselves off taking a year out or taking a risk in traveling. They worry about, what about my job? What about whatever? The reality is, I've never had anybody regret actually taking the time out and traveling the world. I've had friends that did the RV thing from Mexico through America. I've had friends um, that have motorbike rides across India, Africa, and all around Asia. I've had friends that backpack in various parts of the world. Nobody has ever said, "Oh, that was the worst mistake I ever made." The fact that you do it, it just opens up so much more to your knowledge, your experiences, your cultural influences, your understanding of how narrow the media and things are these days. You see the bigger picture. You see what being poor really means. Because often in the West, poor means you aren't getting an Xbox for Christmas. But poor in Asia can mean skipping a meal because you can't afford it. It can mean things like pag, which is basically eating food out the bin. Um, it's recycling other people's food. Pag actually means something like where you brush it off, like say you dropped the food and then brushed it off. But it actually means that generally that it's people eating other people's food out the bins. That is poor. But on the upside, you meet new people, you meet and understand new cultures. You see how different the world is, but also you see that a lot of the stuff that people are generally scared of are false barriers. My time in the Middle East, for example, I never felt any fear of the locals whatsoever. If anything, they would ask me to come and sit with them to eat, and they were very, very welcoming. Didn't matter if they were rich or poor, it did not matter whether it was the bus driver or somebody that was the head of a department. They all were very open, very friendly, and also very well educated. There is a whole misunderstanding of cultures and the way people think, the way people are, and traveling can change all of that because you get to get an insight into other people's worlds, other people's lives, other people's way of lives. You start to understand that often we are running only one way of life when there are so many different ways, but also people see things differently. Some things in a Western perspective does not make sense to other cultures in the same way when we look at something they're doing, it doesn't make sense, but to them it does, and there's always a reason why something's done a certain way. You then get the natural beauty, you get the changes in environment. They're watching the thunderstorms coming in over the seas, the heavy rains that rattle off metal roofs, the the fogs in the mountains. There's a lot of natural things which are once in a lifetime experiences that you may never get if you never make the decision to take time out and go and see the world. You need to spend more than a month in a location. You need to travel around, get well educated on where you're going, and look for where you can get the most out of going there on a trip. Ideally, you want a year out, but for most, that's going to be difficult. But at the same time, I'm sure you would never regret it if you did do it. Let me know what you think. Would you do it? Have you done it? What was, if you did do it, what was it like going back into your day to day life? How did it change you when you traveled? Did you find that you came back a better person? Did you find that you didn't get much out of it? Let me know. I'm interested. Thanks for listening.